we move on to react Olympic men's soccer match day 3 games. Let's pull up exactly what happened here. Let's Before we start off, I'd like to say the 4 quarterfinal matchups have been confirmed. They'll all be this Friday. Morocco take on the United States. Japan take on Spain. That'll be interesting. Egypt take on Paraguay. And then France, they will take on Argentina in a rematch of the World Cup final 2 years ago. But let's go to Spain taking on Egypt. Ibrahim Adel is able to lead the Egyptians past Spain with a brace as he led Egypt to a 2-1 victory over Spain, which clinched them as the top spot in the group. Therefore, they win the group and take on Paraguay instead of taking on Japan. Adel, he first took advantage of the Spain with a crafty finish, with a great dribble coming in from Zizou, and then Adel was able to blast the ball right under the crossbar, and then he made it 2-0, taking advantage of a turnover from Spain, and then getting it past their goalkeeper in the 67th minute. And then Spain were able to wake up. They got some changes in, but they couldn't get that second goal. Atletico Madrid's Samu Omorodion was able to nod home a header, but they couldn't get that second. And Egypt earned the top spot in the group, and it was a massive victory for them. One of their best moments in Olympic soccer history, which they've been in a lot. They've been in a lot of games, so great performance from them. Dominican Republic took on Uzbekistan. They played. It was a 1-1 draw. They were, Dominican Republic came in needing a win in the game, and they needed help from Egypt. But with the draw, both teams were out, and even if Dominican Republic were able to beat Uzbekistan, with Egypt winning against Spain, that was not going to be enough. They weren't able to catch up to those two teams. So, yeah. Ukraine and Argentina. Argentina were able to get the 2-0 victory in a game that they weren't exactly over Ukraine, in a game that they didn't really impress. Very, very disappointing and underwhelming game. It was tight, contested game. Reminded me a lot of the Ukraine-Belgium game from the European Championship. It's a very similar situation. Both teams all teams in the group entering 3 points. That game finished in a draw, but I think it was like this game was similar. It was very, very tight. It was a fair game, and really, it was going to take a moment of absolute brilliance for anyone to get it through, because it didn't seem like there was much good chances that were going to be created. And that moment came from Thiago Almada with an absolute amazing curling effort, slightly out of the box, and it put them 1-up in the 47th minute. And that's what it was going to take for that break to come, a moment of quality. And the thing is, this Argentinian team has those players to make a moment of brilliance happen. That's still what makes them deadly. Despite them being underwhelming this tournament in terms of general play, they still have some world-class players in the team. You have the likes of Thiago Almada or Julian Alvarez, maybe world-class is a stretch, but I'm saying, quality players. And then Ukraine, they were able to, after that goal, they were able to create a few chances for themselves, but Argentina defended it very, very well, and then they were able to get a goal. Later on to push it and win and move on to the knockout stages as group winners, just based on as second place actually in the group, as Morocco were able to win their group. We'll discuss why Morocco won the group a little bit later on when we talk about their game. But yeah, now that Argentina take on France, so there needs to be improvement amongst this team. And I think France has underwhelmed themselves through this tournament. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Morocco, they were absolutely able to thrash Iraq. They scored 3 goals in the first half. Dominant game. Really took the game by the scruff of the neck and really suffocated Iraq. Amir Richardson, absolute brilliant player. Sofian Rahimi, also another quality sort of player who is up for golden. Who's gonna, he's up in the golden. He probably can win the golden boot race. I believe this is now 4 goals for him at this tournament. And then Abdi Ez Al Zuli also was able to get a goal. Barcelona youngster, former Barcelona youngster. Another player was quality. We obviously know Akraf Hakimi. But yeah, it was absolute domination from Morocco. 13 shots to 1 in that first half, having more than 70% possession. Yeah, they're absolute dominant and deserving victory, and they have some players with some great individual skill and talent that can really be deadly against the U.S. because there's some real players. And by the way, interesting storyline there going with Amir Richardson. Amir Richardson is a quality player, and he chose Morocco over the U.S. and France, who was also another option for him. But this is a guy that has real quality, and not much people talk about Amir Richardson being a huge loss for the U.S. When you can talk about the roles of dual nationals in the U.S., this is a dude with some real quality. So we hope he doesn't come back to bite us on Thursday or on Friday. So obviously, U.S. taking on Guinea, they guaranteed they clinched their spot in the quarterfinals of the Olympic Games for the first time in 24 years by defeating Guinea 3-0. Kevin Paredes had a brace. Mihailovic opened up the scoring with an absolutely brilliant free kick in the top left corner. Very similar to the Neymar free kick against Germany at the Olympic finals last year. The opening goal of the Olympic Games, the final of the Olympics, the gold medal match. A little bit further out Neymar's goal was, but similar trajectory in the way that they placed the ball. And yeah, this is a brilliant, impressive display, an important display. And they find themselves in a position now that they're, a victory against Morocco away from having 2 chances to win the medal. Because if you're in the semifinal, you win that game, you're getting a medal. You're either getting gold or silver. And then if you don't win that game, then you put yourself in a position that you have a bronze medal opportunity to win a medal. So if they can beat Morocco, they put themselves in a position that they have 2 chances to win a medal. That'd be great to watch. France, they took on New Zealand, the other game in this group, and France was able to, ride the momentum that they've been on with 2 victories and impressive and, dismantle New Zealand, who really lacked any sort of quality and ability, and they were they were able to completely dominate this game. Jean-Philippe Mateta, Desiree Doué, Arnett Kalamuendo was able to score. The French were able to outshot the New Zealand 32-8. It took a big game from Alex Poulsen, who came up with 6 saves to prevent this blowout from being even more disastrous. France were able to get some rest in for players too, some vital players like Michael Olise, who only played for 25 minutes, Louis Kabade, one of the overage players who only played 12 minutes, and then the other overage player, Alexander Lacazette, who didn't play at all. It's a great result for them, but now their gift for winning this group is now they have to play Argentina, who slipped up and finished 2nd place in this group, and yeah, now there's a rivalry between those two. There's no 2 ways about it between France and Argentina, and yeah, we'll be excited to watch that game, and we'll talk about it more as we discuss the games. The quarterfinal games. Paraguay took out Mali. It was an amazing game, end-to-end. Some brilliant football, attacking display between 2 good quality teams, but Mali was not able to get it done. Paraguay was able to get that tight 1-0 victory in a game that really they kind of controlled how this game was going, because they only needed a draw, with what was going on in that other game. They only needed a draw to get through. Mali need to come out and get the win. And once Marcelo Fernandez, absolute screamer of that volley, an absolute brilliant volley, which will be the goal of the tournament, I'm sure about it. Obviously, now there's like gonna be three absolutely life-changing goals that we're about to see the rest of the tournament, just because I said that. But it was an amazing volley in the 5th minute, and that was really all that Paraguay needed, that moment, because then it forced Mali to be even more open and really had to chase the game and really needed 2 goals, and allowed Paraguay to observe a little bit and hit back in the counter, which they did brilliantly with the ability that they had. They weren't able to get the goal, but they still made it an amazing game in the way that they played in transition. They could have just sat back and really just bunkered down, but they decided to play a little bit, which made the game even better. Yeah, it was just very disappointing. That 5th minute volley is exactly what Mali couldn't have, because it put them in a position where they're chasing multiple goals, and that's not what you want to be in. And again, Mali just didn't really have the right quality. I'm not saying they didn't have quality, but they didn't have the right quality to be able to get the ball into the back of the net, and that's what happens. The goal scoring has been a problem with Mali, despite a lot of chances created, a lot of good general play, a lot of open-ended, fast-paced, energetic football. They haven't really been able to get the ball in the back of the tournament enough in this tournament. And they'll be going home. Paraguay was able to do enough, and now they have earned the right to take on Egypt in the quarterfinals. Israel was able to take on Japan. Mayo Hosoya was able to get a stoppage time winner to get a perfect 3-for-3 group stages. It was really, it was a game that wasn't much important to Japan. The fact that they've already won the group, but they were able to take care of business. Now Japan get to take on Spain. So another fascinating time.